CCISD is considering some big moves, some possible big changes in the upcoming school year. Dr. Roland Hernandez, the superintendent for CCISD, joins us. So good to have you. Thank you for taking time to visit with us. If you could, you're facing a $27.5 million budget deficit, and there's the talk of some schools being closed next school year. How do we get to this point?
Yeah, so the deficit budget has really been many factors that have kind of led us to this point. It certainly isn't something that has happened overnight. School districts have had many challenges over the last several years, especially over the last legislative sessions. In many cases, we've had new mandates put on the schools, but not enough funding to cover all the new mandates. And that had continued into the last session, where, if you'll remember, school districts didn't get a lot of support financially from the legislature. This latest session was more successful. They did help districts out more, but just still not quite enough to make up deficits.
And we saw some of that money going to the voucher program that's coming up this next school year as well, for charter schools, private schools.
That's right. So again, many factors. Of course, the other thing is that school has to occur. It has to happen. You have to staff these schools for your students. In our case, CCISD being around a very long time, we have many campuses that are 50, 60, and even older than that, years old. Many old schools in areas that were once thriving that are now just decreasing in the younger student population.
We're seeing population growth, things move in different directions, and we know you've created new campuses to address that. But these are some of the older schools that you were mentioning beforehand that could be closed next year?
Right, so we're looking at possibly 4 elementary schools and 3 middle schools. It is a process that we're following. Nothing's been decided on. That's the most important thing. We've kind of worked through different factors. We've looked at the utilization of campuses, like how many students should this school have for the number of students that live in that attendance zone, versus the condition of that building. How old is it? What is the condition of it? Does it need a lot of work and repairs with maintenance costs, roofs, chillers, you name it? And then just the area of the city of where it is and how it could possibly maybe become merged with another campus to just help the district become more efficient.
And we've seen that with some of the other schools over the last couple of years where you've brought them together. I believe Carroll High School was a merger.
And fortunately, through bond elections, we've been able to build new schools, add some wings to other schools, and just merge campuses together. What you run into now is schools that are 50, 60 years old. The time they were built probably in the 400 or 500 range, and those schools are now in the 200 student population, 300. Becomes very difficult to keep, being able to afford a full staff, administration, and all the maintenance costs that goes with it. So our hope is that as we continue to get feedback, work with our school board, our community, and our parents in these different communities, we'll break for Thanksgiving, we'll come back, we'll have some community feedback sessions where they'll get to share more information, understand the plans, understand that regardless of where schools might change and attendance boundary, students will still be provided transportation, which is always a big question.
That's what I wanted to get into. I wanted to go into what this means for parents that have their kids in those schools, but also for the teachers. It's my understanding that the teachers still have that job security in there. Is that correct?
We do. We always have in the past through consolidations, and when you stop and think about it, in many of the last bond elections, we have merged 2, sometimes 3 schools together. Through attrition, through retirements, we've never had to not leave people without jobs. Of course, in a perfect world, you'd like to guarantee and promise that, but you just let it play itself out. We've never had issues with that before.
And as far as for the parents that are like, oh wait, so my kid goes here, I'm used to this schedule, to this, that, and the other. There's been workarounds. We've seen that as that's transitioned, and you've gotten hopefully better learning from the past mergers of schools, how to make it easier for those kids to get to those classes.
Yes, we have. We've learned so much over the years, and again, we're trying to provide always the safest campus, and that's something we've done a good job on as a district and our community, making our schools safer, a lot of safety vestibules, things like that. But you also want healthy populations for schools. You don't want schools to become so low in numbers that they can't offer everything all the other schools get to do. Whether it's athletics, whether it's clubs, anything. So getting these enrollments to be more efficient, if a school has a capacity, we want them to get as close to 85, 90% being occupied. And in some cases, we have campuses that are 50, 60%. They just have a lot of space.
It makes sense to me why the board did not want to make a decision on all this, as you said, coming into the holiday break. I think what's important for people at home to realize is if you're watching this right now and maybe you're like upset or you're concerned, you're worried, this is the part where you want people to hey, take part in this. When we have these meetings, you mentioned community feedback, how vital is that to the overall decisions that you'll make?
It's very important, and you know, the thing we have to remember is that there is a lot of perspective that comes to this. Many people bring different angles. We understand also when you're looking at closures, consolidations, there's a lot of emotion involved. We have to recognize that emotion and understand probably more people than not have been through this kind of situation. Obviously, we've closed many schools here in CCISD, and we'll continue to consider the same options moving forward. But that is the opportunity that we're trying to give our families to come and share what their perspective is. It could be what is something we might not know, that we want to be able to say we took all ideas, considerations into account before moving forward with anything.
Looking at the bigger, broader picture here, we know the state is trying to reduce property taxes all the time for homeowners, and people, yay, I like that, but as schools, we know y'all draw a lot from that money coming in. What do you do on a state level to advocate for public schools here to get that money that some say y'all are missing out on?
We just have to continue to educate. Even our legislature, for many times, people making decisions yet don't realize the impact that it's going to have in schools. That happens too often. And then decisions are made, it does have a heavy impact on schools, and then it's after the fact that we had no idea it was going to impact y'all in such a negative way. And once those decisions are made, it's not really like what was the feedback and input. It's like these are the things y'all have to implement, and now you're in it. So that's where districts face hard times and challenges, is following through with implementation. Whether you have the funding to support it or not, it still has to happen because it becomes law through the legislature. For the most part, just educating our community and continuing to help them understand why we do what we do, why we're considering what we're considering, to help address the deficit budget. Again, even considering these school closures is just part of the picture. There's so much more that goes into this that's going to help us over time get where we need to be. It won't all happen immediately, but these are important steps we have to consider.
I do want to point out really quickly, I know there are a couple schools against the TEA measuring grade that have improved greatly. They've gone from Fs to Bs and stuff, so you're seeing solid progress.
Yes, we've seen a lot of progress. We're extremely proud of our teachers and our students of what we accomplished over the last year, 2 years. Many of our campuses, you know, our district improved to a B rating. For the most part, we are where every other district is here in our area with a high B rating. Our campuses jumped from Bs to As, some from Cs to Bs. So a very successful year, and we feel confident that in these consolidations, considerations, students are not, if you will, taking a step backwards into a school that's in worse condition, or even into a school that's not doing good academically. All of them would be excited to consider attending a newer school, a school in better condition, and sometimes a school even in better academic standing.
I would say offering lots of courses that you wouldn't otherwise, that we never had growing up, and that is applicable to the times that we're living in, meeting those demands.
That's right.
Dr. Hernandez, thank you for coming in. I want to end on that note, because we've seen that improvement, that marketed improvement, because we've talked to you in the past, what are you doing to make things better and meet those grades, if you will. So once again, we just want to stress, you want to get involved in this discussion, because we are talking about a couple schools that could be shut down. They're looking at that right now, but community feedback is so very, very important. We'll have all the information on our website, KIIITV.com. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you.